Hey, what's up, kids? Big Lou here, and welcome back to the Clubhouse. And we are getting ready to get started with episode 2 of Lord of the Rings of Power, streaming on Amazon Prime Video. So, if you missed my review of reaction to the first episode, you can find it in a card right here. So make sure you go check that reaction out before you get into this one, because they release these at the same time, and I'm filming these reactions kind of back to back. My thoughts on the first episode, just in a wee little nutshell, are it was great. It was all set up, and some of the sequences were fantastic. I can't wait to get to know some of the new characters that we've been introduced to and learn more about the journey that some of the characters that we have learned from Lord of the Rings in the movies previously, what their journey is. So that's just the TLDR version of what I had in the last, but make sure you still go back and check that out. Also, make sure that if you're liking my content, you go ahead and leave a like, drop some comments, hit the subscribe button, because we got all kinds of fun stuff that we're watching here in the Clubhouse. We've got House of the Dragon, we've got She-Hulk, and later in the month, of course, we're going to have Andor. So, lots of fun stuff to get to, and this is going to be another long episode, 68 minutes, I think. And, of course, you won't see that. It'll be all edited because, copyright, not like that. But anyway, let's go ahead without any further blabbering from me, and let's get started on episode 2 of... What show am I watching? Rings of Power, right now. Oh, we actually have a opening title sequence. Let's see if it lives up to some of the other fantasy show title sequences. If you know, you know. It's a lengthy title sequence, but Lord of the Rings. The Rings of Power. And there it is. I don't know who this is or who it's supposed to be. It's got a beard like Gandalf, but I don't think it's Gandalf. I think it's...
Alright! Poppy! You shouldn't be...
Uh-oh. Oh. Damn. Ow.
It's not hot.
It's not hot. Oh, in the previous episode they said it's so evil it doesn't give off warmth. I wonder if that means this guy's evil. And now it got... I knew it was coming and it happened. Huh. That's so interesting.
Your mom's gonna kill you. You're not telling her. Not to mention, elves don't fall from the sky. Nobody does. As far as I know. He did.
See, these two just had a conversation that millions of people also had around the world. Who is this guy?
And anything bad that happens the next 3 seasons will be our fault. If fog lasts a little too long, we'll get stuck in a rut. Go, quick, go!
The humor works. I dig it. Now, if I was smart, I would have written their names down between episodes 1 and 2, but I didn't. I know the guy is Arondir. I still don't know the chick's name, because they said it too fast and I don't have subtitles on. The cinematography in this is just spectacular. That's a really cool city. Ergion, realm of the Elven Smiths.
A forge, able to birth a flame as hot as a dragon's tongue and as pure as starlight.
Wow.
What seems to be the difficulty? I need it completed by spring.
Why?
Have you considered seeking partners outside the confines of our own race?
Khazad-dûr dwarves! Yes! Finally!
It is Elrond of Lindon. We seek an audience with Prince Durin.
No.
Just no.
I invoke the right of Sigyn Tagar.
Sigyn Tagar.
What is the right?
Oh? Well, that worked.
Elmendea.
Holy... Wow. That... I frickin' love dwarves, man. Oh, look at that. And they use the mirrors to grow... Wow. Is he gonna have to fight him? What's this rite of Noctagar, whatever it is? There he is. What's up there, Durin?
Does the elf understand?
The elf does.
He's just referring to him as the elf. Clearly something happened that Elrond doesn't remember. What are you drawing, dude? I don't know what that is.
Hello?
What is it saying? This dude's clearly going through some shit.
Is it some sort of map?
Yeah, I'm just as confused as Nori is. Doing such a great job of building tension. Oh. Oh! So did the stick breaking cause his leg to break, or is it just...
I'm trying to help you, but I'm just a Harfoot.
Oh. Like I was saying, the interaction between Nori and Starman, for lack of a better phrase, is really, really interesting. Her ability to kind of like communicate non-verbally with him is really cool, but still, you can tell she's incredibly frustrated by it. Or they both are, really.
Why are you out here?
I was separated from my ship.
That's... Oh, honey.
The worm.
The worm?
Does she look dangerous to you?
Looks can be deceiving.
He's not wrong. Dude. Oh.
An elf?
He's the only one left on a little dinghy.
What are you called?
Galadriel.
I'm Halbrand.
Halbrand.
What's our head?
He's a stupid elf. Oh, I love dwarves.
Perhaps his lordship would be willing to escort me to the exit.
Gladly.
Gladly. Wow. What? Man, this is... The Khazad-dûm is just so cool looking.
You might at least listen to the proposal I bring.
Ah, there it is. The true purpose of your visit. You want something.
I journeyed here to see my friend whom I'd greatly missed.
Missed? You missed my wedding. The
Oh.
birth of my children, two of them.
Oh.
You cannot claim that which you discarded.
Wow.
20 years may be the blink of an eye to now, but I've lived an entire life in that time. A life you missed.
That's so powerful. The perspective of time to an elf is just so different from...
So what do you have to say to that? Friend.
Now he gets it.
Congratulations.
One apology to Disa and you're off. No getting better acquainted. No reminiscing about the past. Absolutely no staying for dinner.
Oh, he's got to stay for dinner.
This cannot be Elrond, can it?
I fear so.
I love it so much.
Durin didn't tell me you were coming.
Durin didn't know.
You're staying for dinner.
He's leaving.
He's staying.
He's leaving.
He's staying.
The fact that she knew immediately who Elrond was.
Make yourself comfortable.
But not too comfortable.
It's magnificent. I love dwarves. I'm more of a hobbit myself, but I've got dwarf energy big time.
She may play coy now, but she was a moon-eyed girl in love from the moment we met.
I love it. I love them. That's relationship goals right there, buddy.
Some called him a fool for believing it would grow in such darkness.
Where there is love, it is never truly dark. How could it not grow in a home like yours?
I'ma cry. All of that. That's, yeah. I think that's my favorite sequence in anything having to do with Lord of the Rings ever. That's fantastic.
Important elf business, no doubt.
What have elves ever done to you?
From the way I see it, it wasn't elves that chased me from my home. It was orcs.
Oh. It's the exact right thing to say to get her attention.
Your home. Where was it?
I have pursued this foe since before the first sunrise bloodied the sky. It would take longer than your lifetime, even to speak the names of those they've taken from you.
Wow.
If you want to murder orcs and settle the score, that's your affair. But don't dress it up as heroism.
Are you going to tell me where the enemy is or not?
The Southlands.
There it is. I love their dynamic, because he just right back at her like no one ever has to her, and she doesn't know how to handle it.
Bloody mice.
Dude, if you thought that sound was mice, then you're an idiot. Dude, chill. I'll bet the blade's affecting him. I knew it was coming and it still got me. I didn't know that. I knew something was coming.
Get help. Go. We are not doing get help.
Yeah, get your kid, dummy. Or hide in a closet. Oh, what was that? Something completely ineffective, apparently. Oh, that's a nice cut. Oh, that's... yeah, that's an ominous look.
It's a lantern. We use fireflies.
Oh, that's cool. I never realized. Oh, is he whispering to him? Like, he's definitely got strong Gandalf vibes, like a proto-Gandalf. But I think that's a big misdirection. I don't think it's Gandalf.
What's he saying to them? I don't speak firefly.
The humor just works. Oh, I love them so much.
I've known Elrond for half a century, Father. I'd sense it if you were hiding something.
Perhaps he sensed that it was you who was hiding something.
Huh.
We're the ones holding the long end of the hammer here.
Aye.
Oh, have they already found the Evenspark? Allspark? The Allspark? You... Does he mean the Arkenstone? Yeah, it has to be. Omnistone. I forgot. I can't believe I can't remember what that stone is. Omnistone? It's the Arkenstone. Dude, Arkenstone. It's not hard. Yeah, dude, you shouldn't be messing with that. Yeah, anything that draws your blood from an open wound into it should not be... I'll say it again, just like I said in one of the episodes of House of the Dragon. It is too early in this show for things to go well. That kid is... he gonna be trouble. Cool. That's a cool ship. But they're not gonna show us who actually found him, are they? Of course not. Nice. Very cool. That episode was so good. Okay, so we've been introduced to a couple of new characters. I didn't even look to see if there was a post-credit scene. I should do that. I'm sure it'll be fine. We've been introduced to a couple of new characters. Obviously, Durin, who we've heard about Durin in the Hobbit movies, because, you know, Thorin and all of his guys are Durin folk, so they're, you know, his descendants. And Disa is his wife, and I love them. The two of them are just magic. I love everything that they represent about their place in this world, and what Elrond said about, you know, how could the tree not bloom and grow in a house full of love like yours is? And I love that they are just fully committed to each other, and just we only met them for a few minutes in one scene, and already they're freaking relationship goals. It's fantastic. I love it. I also love the but the overcoming the trauma of being betrayed by a friend, or at least Durin thinking that he was betrayed by Elrond because he hadn't, come around to visit her or called him or texted him or whatever in 20 years. And we've all been there. We've all had those relationships that with someone that we thought was an amazing and loyal and lifelong friend who just, didn't realize that their actions were hurting us. And Durin just, didn't know how to handle it. And his way of handling it was to, put Elrond through the same type of pain that Elrond put him through, unwittingly, of course, but still, just that whole dynamic between Durin and Elrond through those couple of scenes was some really compelling stuff about how we treat each other, the relationships between dwarves and elves, and how the elven perspective on the flow of time is completely lost on them compared to, the way that dwarves do it. Because, dwarves live a good long time, but not nearly compared to the immortality of elves. I don't know exactly how long dwarves live, a couple hundred years maybe, whereas, Elrond is several thousand years old even at this point. But yeah, just great stuff for their dynamic, and I love Khazad-dûm. I love how the art design portrayed it with the mirrors reflecting the light to grow the plants and stuff like that. It's just so amazing. I would move there. I would live in Khazad-dûm. I'm a big World of Warcraft player, and I always play dwarves. Not always, but I have a lot of dwarf characters, and Ironforge is one of my favorite settings, just because of taking a mountain and conforming it to your own needs and stuff. It's one of the things I've always loved about the dwarves of high fantasy and stuff like that. It's so good. I love it so much. It's great. And I think I've said I love it so much, I think about 9 times through the course of this reaction. The fact that they found the Evenspark, I think that's what it's called. No, that's not what it's called. It's the Arkenstone. But the fact that they already found it, or they have just found it, and we know that eventually leads to, the fall of Khazad-dûm and what happens, and with Moria and the Balrog and all of that, and the events of, Smaug coming in, and all of that is from this moment. This is kind of the beginning of the end for the dwarves and for Durin folk or Durin's folk. So it's really cool to see that. I think I've said this in several different reviews, both in my Obi-Wan reactions and in my House of the Dragon reactions. Like, even though I know what happens, I still am very, very much wanting to see the how it happens. And I think that seeing the day in the life of the dwarves and their, where they live and stuff like that is just, it's great. I love that this long-form storytelling format gives us the ability to spend more time with some of these characters. The stuff with Halbrand and Galadriel on the ships, or on the, adrift, seemed like it was a pretty small part of this episode, in contrast to how much time we spent with Galadriel in the pilot. And I think that we, taking time to spend, more time with Nori and Poppy and, Starman, for, lack of a better term, because we don't know who he is. I'm sure the internet is abuzz with theories and stuff. I don't think it's Gandalf, because they're hitting it too hard in the, hey, look, he does this like Gandalf, and he's got a beard like Gandalf, and he's, tall like Gandalf. It's not Gandalf, it's somebody else. Whether it's an original character or somebody that we're supposed to know who it is, it'll be interesting to see. I don't think it's Sauron either, because from what we've kind of been, led to believe in the show so far, Sauron never left. He's just been somewhere in Middle-earth this whole time for these centuries. But it very well could be Sauron, but who knows? We'll see. I think I heard that right. Anyway, I like their dynamic a lot, and it'll be interesting to see what happens to Arondir. I'm sure he's, going to be fine. I don't think they're going to take out what they've kind of set up as a main character in the first 2 episodes, just like that. So, very, very much on board with what they're doing in that storyline. And the stuff with Elrond and the Smith guy from the One City, and I didn't write it down because I couldn't even want to think to try and spell it. But anyway, that I think is going to be the core of what this whole series is going to be. I think my theory is that this guy is trying to forge those elven rings, the rings of power, and he's going to enlist the dwarves to help, and they're going to make the dwarven rings, and obviously the rings for man and stuff like that. I think that this whole story, this whole show is going to be the telling of how those original rings were forged, and how Sauron was then able to forge the One Ring and his rise to power and stuff like that. So now that we kind of are on board with where the story's going, I've loved how they've set things up, and as Gandalf said, the board is set, the pieces are indeed moving. So I'm sure that I'll have much more to talk about this as the weeks go forward, because there's going to be a lot of stuff happening with all of these characters, and I'm sure that there's some things in this episode that I can't really think of off the top of my head. But after just having watched it the once, I'm sure that I'll be watching it several times before next week, especially as I'm editing these videos. So make sure that you go ahead and drop a like, drop your comments on how you thought the first 2 episodes of Rings of Power has turned out. I am fully on board with this. I'm really glad that they dropped both episodes at the same time, because if they just had dropped the one, I think that the internet would have been upset in not a good way. And not that I care what other people think. I know I enjoyed it, but sometimes you just want to avoid the drama, and stuff like that, because the second episode was far and away better, at least in my opinion. But then again, I'm biased towards dwarves. So make sure that you stick around, because coming here in the Clubhouse, we've got House of the Dragon, She-Hulk. We're going to be finishing up Rings of Power, and then at the end of September, of course, we've got Andor. So lots of fun stuff that we're going to be watching and reacting to. You're going to want to make sure that you are subscribed and stick around, because it's going to be a lot of fun. So with all that said, we'll see you next time.